Well, check it out. We are one step closer to my mother's arrival. This is for her horse, Hassan. Matt drove into Phoenix to pick it up, and so we assembled that today. It does have a roof as well for half of it, but we're going to decide exactly what position my mom wants. But she'll be able to come out of her front door. That's her RV pad. She'll be able to come out of her front door and walk over and say hello to her pony. And over here, so close to the barn, and Matt picked up this gate so that she'll be able to exit her little yard and come to the barn. Right, Petroglyph? And we did order the electric netting so that these guys will be able to move out. It's getting close to dinner time, huh, ladies? Sweet girls. And we have a request from Jason to show the view. So I'm standing in the bed of the truck. Now that is what we're calling the gateway to glamping. You can see really far and at different times of day. The canyon country, the mesas come in and out of focus and definition. My favorite time so far is the golden hour, when the sun is coming from low on the horizon behind me and starts lighting up the canyons and mesas out there across the way. There's my mom's spot, and hopefully soon we will take care of that furniture pile. And there's the barn. So we've got all the way down to a corner. So we have all those meadows there. And then we have the canyon gullies that drop down into the wash. I almost stepped on this. It's some kind of a lily. We're getting some very beautiful but discreet wildflowers out here. Here's an update on our babies. And they have outgrown this brooding area, and it's been warm enough that they have not needed the brooder itself. I just cleaned in here and their water is already looking like that. So I'm going to pause a moment. There. Anyways, the netting, the electric netting that we're getting for the sheep is also going to work for these little ones. And so, sorry about that. I got called away on a little rabbit escape emergency. Luckily, he was easy to catch. Anyway, this flock is going to be soon on the pasture using the same electric netting. They are ready. So this guy is the one, Juniper. He's kind of a crazy rabbit, and he's in full spring fever mode. So I try to give him opportunities to exercise, but he's always being kind of cuckoo. So when I let him hang out in here on the ground, like she's doing, like a good girl, then one day I came in to discover him up here. So he jumped straight up off the floor up to the cage rack. And while I'm here, do you notice something? So much cuteness in one space. All 6 are doing well. They're kind of piled up in the corner too. Got a few black ones and a few blue ones. This silver blue one here is the biggest. Hi. Are you going to turn out like Larkspur? Eglantine is looking like a very proud mama, and she likes being able to get on top of her box to escape her young. They can really hassle their mama, always insisting on nursing when she doesn't feel like it. So Violet is over 4 years old, and she's now had two kind of troubled births. Well, she only had a single one this last time, and it came out before its eyes opened, came out of the nest, and she accidentally stomped on it, and it passed away. So I'm going to give her another chance of mating, and then if that doesn't work and she's just done breeding, then she's going to retire, and she's on the lifetime plan. So she's going to hang out with us for the rest of her natural life. She's done great work being our matriarch. Last time, Foxy had the big, healthy litter, and so we had great expectations for her. But this time she had a singleton, and the singleton is a sweetie and seems perfectly healthy. But just one this time, huh, Fox? That's all right. It's only her second litter. Holly is a few weeks away from her due date, and so we need to provide her with a nest box. And she is also eager to get exercise, but I don't want to disrupt her. She kind of is not very easy to catch and kind of throws herself around a lot. So she'll get exercise again once her babies are out and weaned. Larkspur is Juniper's understudy in being a crazy springtime bunny rabbit. Go back in, Larkspur. He's demolished his cardboard box completely, but he gets to hop on the floor a lot in here, and sometimes in the playpen. He hasn't really shown a propensity for escaping out of the playpen, but we do need to keep a close eye when they're in there. And that's why we're working on the rabbit garden, so that there will be a place that the rabbits can hop and nibble on fresh vegetables and dig a little bit, but not dig out, and cannot jump out. And that will be their exercise. Now, Larkspur is going to be really happy to meet the next newbies that are coming on the scene. So, May 15th, we are going to be picking up some animals in Missouri, and we found American rabbit breeder who's very close to the Greg Judy Green Pasture Farm, where we're getting our ram and our guardian dog. Matt found a rabbitry, and so we can get some pedigreed blues, a blue one and a white one, American rabbits. And that way Larkspur can breed with those that he's not related to, and Juniper can produce more pedigreed American rabbits, which are very hard to find. They're a heritage breed. There's hardly anyone breeding those. So, super excited. Extreme close-up. So the first priority at this current time is getting our nucleus fence installed. And we've made some progress on that. There's the high tensile wire spinning jenny, and that helps us be able to string these. And Matt has gone for an alternating ground and hot pattern, and then the upper wires are hot, and then we're going to add the electric wire tape, which is about an inch wide white tape for the topper top. And that will make it much more visible. But pretty simple procedure to attach to the tea stakes with these insulator clips and with the wire attaching clips for the grounded. And so the wooden posts were set in concrete after using the rental tractor auger, not all. Yeah. And so down there, that's what we're calling the north gate that will bring you out into the greater pasture upper quadrant of the property. And so we've completed from the entry gate to this north gate. And that was just over 300 feet. And so the next leg goes down to that post and then over kind of by my mom's place. And then you can't see where it goes next, but back that way, zigzagging. And that's a 600-foot stretch. So Matt has reserved one of the tea stake pounders, the gas-powered tea stake pounder. And so that should make short work. Tomorrow we're going to lay out all of the tea stakes where they belong, and down on that end, the bottom corner that you can't see from here, the terrain down there is kind of cuckoo. It's little ravines and ruts from the erosion. So it's going to make it way easier if you can just slam all those tea stakes in instead of through brute force. I mean, it's going to be challenging enough. It'll shake a man. Anyways, that is our nucleus fence line. So you got to work on what's the priority. So sometimes stuff is going to just kind of lay around randomly while we work on what we can. But this is a luxury that I'm so glad we brought with us. We can wash our clothes here off-grid, and Matt had to replace the hose that goes to the RV's outdoor kitchen spout, or outdoor shower, rather. But he's got this hooked up, and it puts the gray water in the barrel. And then today we started rolling the barrel down here and pre-soaking these tree holes that were also augered with the rental tractor. So we got to fill 3 of these full of wash water today, and then we can remove the sand easier now that it's wet, because otherwise with the post hole digger the sand just sifts right out. But we've got 6 rooted elderberry trees, and those are going to go down this string of augered holes fed by the washing machine. Speaking of the rabbit garden, I'm calling this section the island, and it's surrounded by the moat. But it was really getting whiplashed pretty hard by the winds. And so I decided to go ahead and do a more advanced berm around this side of it. And what I did was I scraped there to the left of the berm that I had already made. And then I started to armor it with pebbles and stones that I found. And I'm going to be collecting a lot more and adding that to armor this windbreak berm. And I'm going to continue to amend the soil in here. Right now, the moat is just stuffed with old rabbit litter, and I've done that to this backside of this new taller berm as well. Now this is a fertility pit, so it's got many layers of compost and rabbit litter and dirt. And our hardy rootstock apple tree is doing quite excellent. I've got lots of garlic coming up here on this side. And then these calendula starts. This one is really having a good time blooming. That one's about to. That one's pretty puny. And there's one over here too. You can't even see it. There it is. And on this side, the rosemary saffron. I think it's saffron. It's an herb that we got from Native Seed Search, and it is supposed to be taste like saffron. More calendula, brutalized by the wind, but I did mulch it with this composted mulch that we picked up from the feed store. Here's a kohlrabi transplanted from the seed starts that I started back in early March. And then the back furrow has magnolia snap peas from the first time I propagated them back in the old place. So I have a package of the most recent ones too. I'll try those when I have a longer row. And in front of that is a furrow of beets. Over here on this fertility pit where we planted the Bartlett pear, it's not quite as happy with the weird freezes that come after 80-degree days as the hardy rootstock apple, but it's alive. And next to it, this blackberry that someone rooted upside down just never took. I'm not going to pull it out until, all hope is gone. There's a garden sage, a little singed on the edges, but okay. The mint looks pretty awesome. Here's a strange volunteer plant that grows out here. I have not identified it. The thyme is clinging to existence. The sorrel really got singed by the frost, but it's making a comeback. Same with the oregano. One of the winners is this red raspberry, and I'm going to do the method where you just lay that stick down in the furrow, and hopefully it will root along its length and be a longer, more vine crowns coming out of it. So I still have a lot of this moat to develop, and I'm going to be raising the pathway higher and collecting rocks to armor. The high winds really blow a lot of dust and batter the plants and suck all the moisture out of your mulch. So I'm learning how to garden out here. It's all new for me. More seedling updates. These are the first tray that we planted back, like I said, in early March. And it's taken them a while, but some of them are really progressing, getting their secondary leaves. So hopefully I will have a bed for those soon. And I have potted up some tomatillos out of there. That's the Siberian pea shrub, which is for some reason in extreme low gear. Here's Coban peppers and Zia Pueblo. Both of those are from Native Seed Search. Now these I planted up more recently, or sowed more recently, and that's a few different kinds of beefsteak tomatoes and sweet peppers and habaneros, and then next to them brassicas. Getting good germination from those. Over here, nothing out of that, only one serrano. These ancho poponos, it's time for me to pot those up. These Fairy Morse brand Gardener's Delight cherry tomatoes. I've separated them and potted them all up from their clusters. And then here are the tomatillos and which peppers? Anaheim peppers. And then these are the Prescott Wittenberg tomatoes from Native Seed Search. These are the slowest growing radishes I've ever known. Don't know what their deal is. And then here in the kiddie pool wicking bed style, we've got our rooted elderberries, some willows, the pecans, and Matt went ahead and augured these 2 tree holes right as you exit the RV. And so we use them as fertility holes. That one has a lot of compost and animal litter. This one, he went ahead and completed the basin and planted in one of the willows. And then he planted this drylands pasture mix, which is germinating all over the berm. Has to be watered 4 or 5 times a day to make it so, but I'm up for the challenge. And these ladies are laying hens. They are doing pretty well. The ram has their run for now, but when we get the netting, they'll be able to go back out on the pasture. But they are giving us about 7 eggs every day. Thanks, ladies. Don't escape. Yeah, if you want chickens that will lay all through the winter, get those sex-link. ISO brown is what Tractor Supply called them. But other patents or trademark names are like Cinnamon Queen. Whatever, they're high production layers. And petite and sprightly and fun-loving birds. And with that, I'm signing off. Thanks for visiting our homestead. Cheers and blessings.